Christy was 43 years old. She was rich, successful, and respected, but she was not married. For years, she told herself she had time, but now she felt it clearly. She wanted a child. Not later. Now. She didn't want to rush into marriage just because of age. She wanted to be a mother on her own terms. So she chose surrogacy. At a private hospital, Christy had some of her eggs collected and preserved. The doctors said everything looked good. All she needed now was a sperm donor. She believed it would be simple. She did not expect destiny. Frank was 45. He was also single, calm, and successful. He came to the same hospital to donate sperm. He didn't know who would use it, and he didn't ask. To him, it was just a quiet decision. While waiting, he met a woman named Christy. They talked about small things at first. The hospital, life, works, but the conversation felt easy, too easy. They laughed. They listened. Time passed quickly. Frank did not know who Christy really was, but Christy already knew who he was. Christy and Frank had exchanged numbers at the hospital. Christy did not expect Frank to text her that night. She stared at her phone longer than she should have. She told herself it was harmless. Just a message, but she already knew it wasn't. Frank told her he enjoyed talking to her. Christy replied that she did too. And just like that, the line shifted. They met for dinner a few days later. Christy noticed how easy it was to talk to Frank. No pressure, no pretending. Frank told her he did not usually connect with people quickly. Christy smiled and said some things happen without planning. But inside she felt fear. Because this connection was never part of her plan. They spoke every day after that. Phone calls stretched into the night. Frank spoke about loneliness, even with success. Christy listened, knowing she felt the same. She laughed with him. She relaxed with him. And each time she hung up, the secret grew heavier. Christy sat alone one night. Hospital documents spread on her table. Her phone buzzed with Frank's name. She did not answer. She asked herself when control had slipped from her hands. She asked herself how honesty could hurt so much. Frank asked her why she had been at the fertility hospital. Christy felt her chest tighten. She told him it was a consultation. She did not tell him the truth. Frank believed her. That belief frightened her more than anger ever could. Christy's sister reminded her that people were talking about her age, about her choices. Christy stood her ground. She told her sister this was her life. But later, alone, the words followed her. She wondered how many people would judge her when they knew. One evening, Frank spoke about a past relationship. He spoke about lies. Christy listened in silence. Each word felt like a warning meant only for her. Frank said he trusted her. Christy felt the weight of that trust settle on her chest. The hospital called Christy with the news. The fertilization was successful. A life had begun. Christy thanked the doctor calmly. Then she sat down, unable to breathe properly. This was no longer a plan. This was real. Christy chose a quiet evening. No distractions. No noise. She told Frank the truth slowly. Why she went to the hospital. Why she wanted to see the donor. Why that donor was him. She watched his face change. Shock first. Then anger. She did not interrupt. She knew this moment belonged to him. Frank stood up. His voice rose without him planning it. He said this was not what he agreed to. He said trust had been broken. Christy tried to explain that she never planned to fall in love, but words could not undo the shock. Frank felt used. Christy felt ashamed. Frank walked away that night. He did not look back. Christy stayed where she was. She listened to the silence he left behind. For the first time, she understood that control had a cost. Christy sat alone in her bedroom. The same room that once felt safe now felt empty. She replayed every decision she had made. She asked herself if wanting a child had blinded her. The plan was still moving forward, but her heart felt broken. It didn't take long for the story to leak. Online blogs began to talk. They called her selfish. They questioned her morals. Christy read the comments quietly. She did not respond. She had never feared public judgment before, but this time it felt personal. Everywhere Christy looked, people had opinions. Some spoke with concern. Others spoke with cruelty. They spoke about her age, her wealth, her choice to become a mother alone. Christy kept going to work, but the weight followed her. Christy's parents called her home. They asked why she would do this without a husband. They worried about shame and tradition. Christy listened respectfully. Then she spoke calmly. She told them she was not wrong for wanting a child. She told them she had made her choice. Not everyone understood, but she stood firm. Frank was not at peace either. His brother warned him to stay away, said this situation could ruin him. Frank listened, but his heart was not settled. He thought about Christy. He thought about the child growing somewhere he could not see. One night, Frank sat alone in his car. The city lights blurred in front of him. He remembered Christy's voice, her honesty at the end, her fear. He asked himself a hard question. Was walking away really the right thing? Frank scrolled through old messages with Christy. He realized something important. The child was real, but so was the love. Christy stood by her window that same night. She held her arms around herself. She told herself she could raise the child alone. She had done everything else alone. At the same time, Frank made a decision of his own. He was afraid, but he was more afraid of regret. Frank did not go home that night. He drove to the hospital instead. He sat in the parking lot for a long time before going inside. He asked questions he never thought he would ask about the baby, about the surrogate, about what responsibility truly meant. The answers stayed with him. Christy began to prepare herself for single motherhood. She organized baby plans. She adjusted her schedule. She told herself love was not a requirement for strength. But at night, the silence returned, and it reminded her that strength did not cancel longing. Frank stood outside Victory's door. When she opened it, she was surprised but guarded. She did not know if she was ready to hear more pain. Frank spoke calmly. He told her he had been afraid. He told her he had been angry. But he also told her he did not want to disappear from his own child's life. They sat across from each other, not touching. Frank said he needed truth, not control. Christy said she never wanted to trap him. They spoke honestly for the first time without fear. This time, no one walked away. They did not rush love. They did not promise perfection, but they agreed to face the journey together. Not because it was easy, but because it mattered. Christy and Frank chose not to hide anymore. They released a simple statement. No explanations. No apologies. They spoke of choice. They spoke of responsibility. They spoke of respect. Some people listened. Others did not. Christy's mother visited quietly. She did not speak much, but she touched Christy's hand and asked about the baby. It was not full acceptance, but it was a beginning. Frank's family remained cautious, but they stopped pushing him away. Christy and Frank moved slowly. They rebuilt trust with patience. They learned each other again. Love returned, not loud, but steady. This time, it was chosen. Frank did not plan a grand moment. He spoke simply. He told Christy he wanted to be her partner, not out of obligation, but commitment. Christy said yes without hesitation. They stood together on a quiet evening. The future was still uncertain, but they were no longer facing it alone. The plan had changed, but the purpose remained.